Hey everyone, this is DW's Darius and welcome to another day in the fish room. Today I want to give you guys a look at all my fish tanks, give you guys an update on what's been going on, and just give you guys a look at some of my future plans. This video is going to be one of my longer videos, so for you guys in the description section, I've broken up the video into different parts, so if you want to see a specific tank, you can easily find it in the description section. The updates on these tanks will be pretty brief, so if you have any questions or comments, you can feel free to let me know in the comment section below. I have Juno down there, he's asleep. Rocky, he's asleep, so they shouldn't interrupt this video. And let's get to it. Okay, so before I get started, for those of you who are new to the channel, I've been making Fishroom updates now for quite a while, and there's a few videos in my Fishroom update playlist. I recommend that you check it out just to see the overall evolution of this Fishroom. When I first started, I only had like 3 tanks down here. Now I'm up to 9 tanks down here, and then 1 more tank upstairs, so that's 10 tanks altogether. And within each tank there was just pretty big transformation, so I think it's really cool to see where all these tanks came from and where they are today. So you can find the Fishroom update playlist in the card section of this video above. So as always, we're going to be starting from the opposite side of all that stuff over there. Over here at my 125 gallon African Cichlid tank. For this video I'm going to be using a 28mm lens. This lens is harder to use, so if I'm out of focus you know why, but it gives a clearer look compared to my kit lens. So yeah, we're going to be using this lens, and hopefully it's not too much of a struggle to get you guys a nice picture of what's going on. But yeah, this is a 125 gallon African Cichlid tank. I have universal rocks 3D background. I have lake rocks from a nearby lake that look awesome, that perfectly fit with the background. And then I have cichlids from Lake Malawi, Lake Victoria, and Lake Tanganyika. From Lake Tanganyika I have 2 6-bar frontosa cichlids, one of which is right here, and the other one is back there. Both of them are about 6 inches. One is definitely a female because a few months she was holding, so I'm not sure which one, but they both are awesome. I love the fact that these fish have such a nice size. They have a pretty big size compared to some of the other fish in this tank, and yet they're not too aggressive and they are awesome. So yeah, those are 2 of my Lake Tanganyika cichlids. And then I also have somewhere in here my Tropheus Du Bois cichlid. You might remember him because he was the fish that was in a pond and I couldn't catch him, but I caught him and he's in here. He's down there under that rock right there. But yeah, he's the 3rd cichlid from Lake Tanganyika, one of the oldest fish in his tank. I remember I got him years ago. He's also the only fish that I own to have been named. We named this guy Man Face because when he was young he had a face that looked like a little human. So he's been called Man Face ever since then, and to this day he's the only fish that has a name. Next we have the cichlids from Lake Victoria. Right before you is one of my favorite, which is my flameback cichlid. This guy, he's pretty small, only about 3 inches, and pretty skinny, but his colors are absolutely beautiful. That nice red over the silver, then a little bit of yellow at the tail. Definitely a very beautiful fish, well decorated, and he's awesome. Once again, his downside is that he's just so small and slow growing, but that color definitely makes up for it. After that, I have over here a flameback cichlid. This guy isn't showing as much color as he could show, but still, even now he shows awesome color. He has a nice reddish, greenish, blackish pattern, a nice mix of color. He's another cichlid from Lake, where is he? Back there. He's another cichlid from Lake Victoria. Then I also have this female. This right here is a salmon hippohap female. The males would have looked a lot like this guy right here, but this ended up being a female. The only reason she's still in the tank is because when she's fired up, when she's feeling dominant, she shows a nice gold coloration, and I think she looks pretty cool when she is feeling dominant. And then I also have this little girl right here. Well, she's not little, she's pretty old. She's been in this tank for quite a while. This is a zebra cichlid. I forgot the full name of it, but I'll put the name in the video. And she's also somewhat deformed. You can see her shape is pretty odd. Her swimming pattern is affected by her shape, but she's been with me for a while and she's an awesome fish. Her head is just so huge compared to the rest of her body, but a very cool fish. And those are the rest of my Victorians. And then after that we have my Lake Malawi cichlids. From Lake Malawi I have haps, peacocks, and mabona. If the tank looks a little bit dirty, it might be the glass. If I focus a little bit like that, you can see the glass has a little bit of particles all over it, so that might be affecting the clarity of the tank from your perspective. But yeah, when it comes to this, to my Malawi's, I have a mix. The most dominant is this guy right here, which is my dragon blood, about 6 inches. Then I have the next biggest fish in here, which this fish is very beautiful. I bought him as a tangerine tiger. He's not showing the tangerine tiger stripes, but he has the color, so I'm not sure if he's legit tangerine tiger or if he's a hybrid, but whatever he is very beautiful. I have an electric blue Ali. I said I gotta keep one of these fish because this is like my YouTube mascot, so if I don't have this fish, I'm gonna have to change my YouTube icon. And it's definitely a beautiful fish to keep. I love that blue color, along with that nice white blaze across his head. A very bright and just colorful fish in this aquarium. And then to go along with him, I have an electric yellow. This is called electric blue. And back there's an electric yellow African cichlid. Very cool fish. He spends a lot of time battling his reflection. You might see some glass biting. He's not doing it now, but usually he spends the majority of his day fighting his reflection, which is pretty cool to see. I have right here a female Melodo. Might be getting rid of her soon because she doesn't really bring too much to the tank. Over here I have this guy right here. I actually forgot the name of this fish, but he's like a hog when it comes to eating. I can feed this tank and he's always the first one to come, and I think he's secretly trying to get bigger, and then when he's nice and big, he's going to try to get his dominance and start fighting. But for now, he's just a hog, and he's just on a goal to eat. And y'all might notice how hard I'm fighting his lens because it's not as easy to go in and out with the focus. Right here I have a female Taiwan Reef. I was going to get rid of her, but I kind of like the pattern of the female. Of course the males look a lot better, but I think the pattern of the female Taiwan Reef is pretty doable. It's not like terribly ugly, it's okay. But yeah, that's a look. Focus. That's a look at the 125 gallon African cichlid tank. For now, everything is going to stay as is. I was looking at a few predator haps, but the thing is, I don't want to get rid of some of my smaller haps, like the species 44 right there, and then my, where is he? Right there below, I have the flameback. If I get predator haps, I won't be able to keep those guys. So that's the main reason why I didn't start keeping predator haps. But there are a few like the Restratus and a few of those that I want to get, so we'll see what happens. I still, once again, want to keep these smaller guys, but those bigger guys look a lot interesting. But yeah, that's a look at the 125 gallon African cichlid tank. Any questions for this tank? Let me know in the comment section below. Okay, so after that, if we take a few steps over here, we have my 40 gallon reef aquarium. Now I just did a video on this tank, so I won't be going into much detail, but this is a Lowtech reef aquarium. You know, this is my only saltwater tank, so I try to do it all with this one tank. So I have SPS corals, soft corals, LPS corals, I have anemones, and I have awesome fish. So when it comes to fish, I have a platinum clownfish right there before you. I have a standard Celurus clownfish. If you keep a saltwater tank, you gotta have Nemo. I have 2 pajama cardinals, and then I have a stoplight cardinal. The stoplight is a fish that you like rarely see because it only comes out when feeding, but it's a very bright red fish. After that, when it comes to corals, I have over here a nice Duncan coral. This thing has over 20 heads. I love the movement from this coral, just a very calm and flow. As you work your way up, we have a species of green star polyps. Not sure the Pacific species, but this type is aggressive. Because of that, I have to move this zoa garden over a little bit because it was stinging the zoas. But yeah, the zoas are over here now. I took them away from this coral over here, so they're open a lot more, looking awesome. Above them I have a Montipora coral. From the front it looks pretty small, but then when you come over to the side view, you can see that it's almost about 7 inches wide, so definitely very nice size of Montipora. I also twisted it, and I was able to get some more light ornithozoas because the Montipora was growing over it, causing the shadow. Eventually, I do think that the Montipora will come in my direction and will cause a shadow, which will kill the zoas because they need the light. I made sure to trim it, but I don't want to affect the Montipora by killing it. So we'll see as time goes on what I have to do with that. Right next to there, I have a little dot of Montipora digitata. Over here, I have a trumpet coral, a neon green trumpet coral. I have some poisonous polyps. I forgot the name of it. Green polyps, poisonous. I saw the other day that oh look, and I rock right. That's the red stoplight cardinal. A fish that's just very hard to film because he's so shy. But yeah, these mushroom polyps are very poisonous. I just saw a video the other day that families died because this stuff released toxins, and you know, I have seen toxins being released from this thing. Whenever I move it, you can see slime coming off of it, and I never knew that it was poisonous to the point where it could kill humans, so that's crazy. After that, I have some green star polyps, and what's awesome about these green star polyps is that they're becoming a 3D background in this aquarium. I have them on a magnetic rock, and from the magnetic rock they cover the thing completely, and now they're starting to grow on the wall. And eventually I imagine that this whole portion of the wall, which is under the light, will be covered with these green star polyps, and I'll have my own live 3D background, which is pretty cool, with a nice bright neon color. Over here I have my devil's hand leather coral. Thinking about fragging it and moving it to some of these other sides of the aquarium, but for now I'm leaving it as it is. Then I have the very aggressive yellow polyps. Not aggressive as far as fighting corals, but when it comes to growth, they grow so aggressively. They're trying to take over every piece of rock they can find. Initially I started off with them on this rock alone. You can see it's hundreds, if not thousands of them. The only thing I like about them is that my clownfish like to host this part of them. But other than that, I'm not liking their growth, their aggressiveness of the speed they're growing. Even back here, they're starting to cover the ground. So this coral is definitely trying to take over the tank. What I might do is put an aggressive coral somewhere in that direction over there, and hopefully the aggressive coral can fight them and calm them down. But for now, they are trying to take over. I like the flow of them because they also have a nice flow. But if they're trying to take over and just clutter everything, definitely not a cool thing to do. After that, I have over here galactic coral. This coral has to stay to himself because if I move him to a higher flow, higher light, it will become more aggressive. It will extend some stinger polyps, and it will try to eat or kill neighboring corals. Over here I have a little bit of a Eophila garden. I have, focusing a little bit better. I have two hammer corals, and then I have in the middle a frog spawn coral. And then over here I have some glove polyps, which are growing nicely on this little frag plug. And then I have a rock flower anemone, and another one, some mushroom corals. I forgot the name of them. Purple mushroom, something like that. Over here I have a mini carpet anemone. And that's a look at the 40-gallon reef aquarium. I went longer in this video on this tank than I expected. But let me give you guys one last look at the neon lights. Just definitely a very entertaining tank, very awesome, and very enjoyable. Okay, so I'm not the only one who enjoys staring at my 40-gallon reef aquarium. If we come next door, a lot of the fish in this tank love looking at those saltwater fish. Like my golden wonder killifish, he spent hours over here just staring at them, probably because he wants to fight them, because he can be pretty aggressive. But yeah, he's living inside my 125-gallon high-tech Planted tank. In this tank I have CO2, you can see the little pump over there pushing in CO2. I have a high output T5 light, and yeah, this is a high-tech Planted tank for plants. I'm pretty simple with plants. On the right side, this stem plant, this long plant over here, this is all Crypspiralis, growing pretty nicely. And then over here I have some Crypwendite. And then finally I have some Anubias. Just 3 species of plants in this aquarium. And it looks pretty good, but you can see that the plants are not the main attraction of the tank, the fish are. With this tank I tried to get a nice selection of color. And I think I did a pretty good job. You can see right away, one of the fish that sticks out is my beautiful red jewel cichlid. She used to live over there in a 125-gallon African. Okay, you can see my laundry. But yeah, she used to live in a 125 gallon African cichlid tank because jewel cichlids are pretty aggressive. But this girl is pretty old. I've had her for quite a while now, and over the years she's lost a lot of that aggression, and because of that I decided to let her live out the rest of her days in peace in this planted tank. So yeah, in this tank I tried to get as much color as possible. She's one of the more dominant colors in this tank, that nice bright red. And then there's also opposite force, another fish in this tank that provides a fighting color. And that is this guy. This is one of my favorite fish in a fish room, the electric blue Cara. She has the nice bright neon red and he has the nice bright neon blue, and you should see them when they swim together. Now of course I'm making a video so he's not going to cooperate, but whenever I don't have a camera in my hand, they're both in the middle and they're both looking awesome. But yeah, with this tank I tried to get as much color as possible. So I have the Bosmani rainbows, I have the turquoise rainbows, I have a iron red rainbow, you can see them right there. I have the torpedo barbs, a very nice color of red on them. My yellow gourami in there. My black skirt tetra. This guy has been with me for quite a while. Initially he was my grandmother's fish. She couldn't keep fish anymore. I got him and he's just been kicking it for years. I have the Odessa barbs bringing a nice bit of red to the tank. I have the gold barbs bringing gold to the tank. So I just, with this tank, try to get a nice assortment of color. Forgot to mention I have the Goiter River rainbow fish. You can see I'm fighting with the lens again, having a hard time focusing. But yeah, this is the Goiter River rainbow fish and this is the Western rainbow fish. And my overall goal in this tank was to get as much color as possible, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job with that. And on top of that, the fish are peaceful. With my African cichlid tank, I get a lot of color, but I got to deal with aggression. And this tank, the aggression is very minimal. The jewel cichlid, when she first got in, she wanted to fight, but then when she saw that no one was threatening her, she calmed down a lot and she's been peaceful. In this tank, I also have a school of Harlequin rasbora. They're looking awesome. And I'm surprised to see them so active. You know, they're so tiny compared to some of the other fish in this tank. You would expect them to be all scared and hiding, but they do a good job at just being active and showing themselves. And I also have a few Corydoras catfish in this tank. I have the panda version, and none of them are out at the moment, but if I had to guess, they're somewhere back there. You can kind of see the shape of one back there. The main thing that happened with this aquarium, you all know, well some of you may know, that I had a lot more fish in this aquarium. I had discus, more barbs, and a lot of them died because in this aquarium, this tank is fairly new. It's only been up for a couple of months, and there was gases under the substrate, anaerobic bacteria. That stuff was being released and it was killing my fish. So fish was dying off every week. I lost a lot of gouramis. I lost all my discus. I lost a few of my barbs. I lost all my danio except two, my giant danio. So I lost quite a few fish because under the substrate there was a lot of gas bubbles and they were being released, killing the fish. So because of that, I've been digging in the substrate, trying to release as many bubbles as possible, and that does seem to help. The death rate has went down, and really there hasn't been any deaths in a while. Look at that electric blue car trying to show off. But yeah, now that I found out the cause of all those deaths and that the death rate is starting to slow down now, I'm not sure which direction I'm going to go in. As of today, I'm pretty satisfied with the selection of fish in this aquarium. I really don't feel the need to add any more. If I do add any more, it will be like an algae eater, because I do have a little bit of algae growing on the leaves of some of this Cryptspiralis, as you can see. But other than that, this tank is pretty enjoyable. I love the fish once again, and this tank is nice and peaceful. So that's a look at my 125 gallon planted tank. And once again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. If we take a dip beneath this tank, we have a 55 gallon Growout tank. So in this tank I have a few fish growing out, potential fish that could be some pretty awesome fish. Being that this fish is front and center, we're going to start off with him. This is a Severum cichlid. I bought it as a red spot Severum cichlid. Right now it's not showing any of the red spots. It's looking a lot like a yellow Severum, but hopefully it's just because it's a juvenile. And eventually it will hopefully produce some red spots and start to look awesome. After that, I want to show you guys this fish because he doesn't really like to come out much. Now look at that. the moment I point the camera at him, he disappears behind the inoculus. But back there I have a red-tailed giant gourami. He's in this tank growing out as well. He's about 5 inches, but the thing is, he's 5 inches and these guys are a lot smaller, so he likes to bully them, and his bullying is pretty excessive. You can see a part of his fin over there. But yeah, his bullying is pretty excessive, so either tonight or tomorrow I will be removing him from this tank just so that these smaller guys could breathe a little bit, because with this guy in this tank, it's unfair for them. If he was the same size, I would leave him, but because he has such a size advantage, they don't deserve to be bullied by him. So he's going to be tossed in that tank with some bigger fish, while these guys can have a little bit more freedom. But yeah, that's the the red spot 7 right here. He's chasing away my datnoid. This is a tiger datnoid. Very slow growing fish, but now he's a lot more active. Yeah, this also is a fish that has a lot of potential. These fish can reach over a foot, so it'll be cool to get him that size, but he's definitely going to take a long time to get there. But yeah, I love his pattern, and now that he's so active, he's definitely more enjoyable. And then lastly, I have a pear-sized cichlid in here. He was just out, I'm not sure where he's at right now, but he's about 4 inches. He's growing the fastest. If it wasn't for the giant gourami, he would be the most dominant. Right now he's not showing a lot of color, but eventually I think when they reach about 5, 6 inches, they will start showing that adult coloration. And pear-sized cichlids are some awesome looking fish. He's not out, so I can actually show you guys the fish I'm talking about. But yeah, so yeah, this is a Growout tank. I'm going to be taking out the giant gourami who's back there. I'm going to be tossing him in a 75-gallon aquarium, and after that, this tank is going to be left with this guy, with that guy, and with what's the name of that fish? The pear-sized cichlid. Okay, so after that we have my 75-gallon, and I'm going to call this a Growout tank as well. So in this tank I have 3 green terras. One right here is a female. Let me see. Yeah, that's the female. I have her son, and then I have his father up here. So this is the green terra family. They're in this tank for recovery. You can see this used to be one of my best green terras I ever kept. A very beautiful fish he used to be, but right now you can see he's definitely not looking so good. The main reason is because he had a big fight with his female. They broke up. On top of that, she went and beat him up pretty badly. And I think the overall embarrassment and shame of being beaten up by his female just tore him up. Because of that, he doesn't want to eat, he doesn't want to swim, and he's just trying to rot away. So basically, he's in this tank. I'm trying to just bring back his confidence. I guess I'm going to have to move this female because she's one of the main reasons why he's lacking confidence. But yeah, he has great potential. He's one of those fish that likes to come to my finger and I can pet him and everything. It's just his appearance. He's not eating, so he's getting skinny, and because he's getting skinny, he's getting unhealthy, and because he's getting unhealthy, he's at risk of dying, all because he couldn't win a fight with his female. So hopefully I can bring the giant gourami into this tank. I'll remove the female. The green terra will go back and forth with the giant gourami, but I think the green terra does have a little bit more, I don't know, experience or strength in the gourami, so maybe if he beats the gourami up a little bit, it'll bring back some confidence and it'll help him regain some of his strength. But yeah, let's look at those 3 fish. And the little guy back there, he's just all messed up because when I first introduced him to his parents tried to kill him. They killed all his brothers and sisters, so that guy is just scarred for life. So eventually I'm going to have to separate him. I'm not sure if I got to keep him solo or what, but he definitely needs something just to bring back some confidence because he's had a hard life so far. And then one of the main attractions of this tank is another fish I have growing out, and this is a fish that I just showed you last week, my freshwater barracuda, also known as the Hujeta Gar. Very cool fish. Now I was going to give you guys a separate video for feeding, but this guy is hungry and he's ready. So I'll give you guys a feeding video right now. I'm not going to do any talking about like what type of fish this is because I just gave you a video about this fish. So if you want to learn about this fish, you can watch that video. But I know a lot of you guys wanted to see this fish in action. So this will be pretty graphic, so I recommend that for any of you who don't like seeing fish eat other fish, you skip to the next part of the video. But for those of you who wanted to see this fish eat, I got me some minnows. We all know that the white cloud minnows that are sold at the store are pretty unhealthy. So what I did was I bought me a few and I've been raising them up myself. These have been with me now for a few days. I've been giving them the same treatment as some of my other fish, water changes, multiple different foods I feed them and all that good stuff. So now they're a little bit more healthy compared to the ones at the store. Of course, they're not 100% good, but they're better than before. And now I want to give you guys a look at the Hujeta Gar in action. So I'm going to drop the feeder over here. Okay, so if we move over to the left of the Hillstream aquarium, we can see a tank that I didn't want to show you guys. It is a little embarrassing to show this to you guys, but this is a feeder tank. I went and bought me some minnows, and this is the only way I could keep my Hujeta Gar alive, is if I grow out some minnows. I'm trying to grow them myself, to grow them out so they could be a little bit more healthier than what you will buy at the store. But still, the idea of raising fish just to feed them to other fish, it is pretty cool. One thing I am learning is that these minnows are a lot more than feeders. You know, before I used to just look at them and just see them as a feeder fish, but they definitely have a lot of potential. One day I do want to do a tank for showing these fish off and not just for using them as food, because I'm learning that these fish are pretty awesome when it comes to feeding. I love their feeding behavior. These fish, I've only had them for a couple of days, and when I stick my hand to the glass, they already come, look at that. They already come to eat, so they definitely have a lot of potential. I want to do a tank where I could give some of these guys a better life than just being in a food chain. But for now, these fish are the main food supply for my Hujeta Gar, and yeah, this is an embarrassing tank, so let's just go to the next one. Okay, so directly next door, I have another 20-gallon aquarium. Similar setup when it comes to filtration, just a simple sponge filter. I just tossed a lot of river rocks on top of the sponge filter, and I think it looks a lot better. It hides the filter, and it creates a lot of hideouts for the fish in this tank, so that's pretty cool. As far as the fish, these are a group of fish that I've wanted for the longest. I've just gotten them a couple of days ago, and they definitely are some very entertaining fish. The main reason why I didn't get them before was because, one, these fish are hard to find at a decent price, and two, these fish are known to be some of the most aggressive fish in the hobby. So these fish are Barton Cichlid, Bartonii Cichlids, a couple of names for these guys. But yeah, these fish are in the family of the Texas Cichlid. When they breed, they show a nice black and white color, just absolutely beautiful fish. I have 4 fish. I bought them for $50. Right in center is the biggest of them. This guy is about 1.5 inches, while the rest are about probably 3/4 of an inch. So far, they spend their days looking for food. They're all trying to grow. This big guy is definitely showing signs of being a male, and hopefully of the 3 other ones I can find a female, and hopefully I can get these guys to live, because a lot of stories I hear that the males go and kill the females because they're so aggressive. But yeah, these are Barton Cichlids. I've wanted these guys for a long time, and I finally have them, and I'm just glad to see them in the fish room, and I can't wait to see them mature. Okay, so above that tank we have my 55-gallon planted tank. This is a Lowtech Planted tank. This is actually my oldest aquarium, the first aquarium I ever bought. Okay everyone, so I want to finish off this video with a look at the backyard pond. So today the temperature is about 61 degrees Fahrenheit, that is, and everything is just getting ready for winter. All the plants are starting to die off now. This lattice up here was covered with this vine, and now you can see it's pretty bare. Usually it doesn't go so quick. Usually it turns all nice and red with the fall foliage, but I guess the temperatures were just so up and down that it just died. So that's bare, and then all the plants around, everything is dying as it should be dying, preparing for winter. The fish are not as active as they were. I want to show you this. This is like the greatest advantage of the pond. So I just built this waterfall this year, this spring, and look at how natural everything is looking. I have a nice row of moss growing on the rocks, and this side of the pond just came out absolutely well. Just looks awesome. This side could use a little bit more work. See, I put a lot of attention into this side because that's the side that's more viewable, but now I got to come around, fill in these gaps and make that look a little bit more presentable. But yeah, the overall landscape of the pond, everything is just getting ready for winter. I'm about to cut this. I think I might take this to a different part of the yard and try to find a better plant. I hate how this just lays down so much, so I'll trim that. Maybe I'll remove that to get another plant there. My equipment, this UV sterilizer that will come in for winter. By next week I'm going to put a little net over, because even though this is mostly falling down, all these trees around me, their leaves has to come down, so I have a net that I'm going to put over the pond to catch those leaves. As far as the fish, I said once again, they are not as active, but I switched their food to a fall spring diet, so this food has a lot more protein, because throughout the winter they won't eat anything, so I gotta give them as much protein as possible. Along with that, every now and then I like to give them some treats, and right here I have some jumbo krill from Tetra, and I'll toss a little bit of that in. I'm not sure if they're going to come up because they haven't been active today, and that is so much cooler. But that's jumbo krill. You see they're not as quick to go for it, but they'll probably come for it in a little bit. I'll mix some of that with their regular food. So the cap on that. Take a little bit of this, set that down, and they're starting to eat now. Just them going after the krill, and I'll toss a little bit of regular pellets in there too. And just the overall entire motion of the koi is different. They're a lot more slower. In the summer they will be splashing like crazy and everything, but they're starting to calm down, and eventually when it's cold enough they're just going to sleep. The same thing with the turtles. I don't even see any of the turtles. I guess today was just too cold for them. But yeah, this is the pond, and everything is starting to calm down and get ready for winter. So YouTube, that's been a look at my aquatics. You've seen my Fishroom, all my fish tanks, all my fish. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I want to thank everybody who took the time to watch this video. Thank everybody who's been subscribing and supporting my channel. I really appreciate all you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.